Hello and welcome to Iron Cow Productions. I am Josh here with my co-host Seth,
Yes,
and we are here to talk about Star Wars Episode 7.
and that requires you to know that it will be full of spoilers and maybe even possible spoilers for movies to come, depending on what we talk about here.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the movie yet, well, you probably shouldn't even be watching this because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so just keeping going with that, what was your overall thought about the movie going into it?
It was really great. I think it was, the CGI was pretty good, and I actually felt attached to the characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I thought it was a lot like number four.
Yeah.
Personally, um, I would have gone for a little bit more unique of a movie, but the who was it J.J. Abrams was the director,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
I think he gave us Star Wars fans what we wanted, but not necessarily what he gave us what we didn't know we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gave us what we thought we wanted, but we didn't want.
I got what you're saying here, because I went into this movie thinking, oh, this is gonna be a pretty good movie, it's gonna be a Star Wars movie, so there's that. But I came out realizing that. Shut up. I came out of this movie realizing that this movie met all of my expectations and then some. Like it was more than I wanted, but it was still good. It was like it's like getting an extra $10.
Yeah.
Finding $10 on the street. It's like, wow.
It's like
that's
seeing
great.
Luke Skywalker at the end of the movie. You're like, wow, finally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah. What's the next topic on this?
All right. We're gonna go over a couple of characters here and see what our thoughts were about them. BB-8. What did you think about him?
I liked him. I really did. I thought he was a unique enough character that I didn't feel like I didn't feel like he was too much like R2 or anything, or like he was trying to replace R2.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he added a unique sort of comedy aspect to the movie.
Uh-huh.
And one thing I could have gone without was how within the first 10 minutes of the movie, spoiler again, he gets the important file.
Yeah.
Very similar to how we see in A New Hope, where R2 was given the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi" message. So
Yeah.
he's carrying something important, just like R2 was carrying the layout of the Death Star.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like, really, I could have seen something a little bit more original than that, but I thought he was a pretty cool robot addition.
Yeah.
Droid.
See, because first trailer for this movie, when the first trailer came out, I'm like, okay,
It's a soccer ball.
There's
a soccer ball rolling around on Tatooine.
That is the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. And I was going into this movie already like hating him, and then I see him, and I don't hate him anymore. He's not my favorite character in the movie, but he's okay. Like I didn't necessarily care that he was there. I could have done without him, honestly, but it wasn't bad that he was there. So I mean, I know. I've heard that he's some people's favorite character in the movie, and that I don't think he's worthy of that. But he's not bad.
I think he was definitely a little kid aspect to the movie, for sure.
Yeah.
The cuteness factor that they wanted to put in there. No Ewoks or Jar Jar.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of BB-8, how about the fact that Rey could understand him the whole movie?
Okay, what is up with this though? Like, because in the other Star Wars movies, they've done this before, where like R2 is just like beeping, and then somehow other people can just understand what he's saying. What is that? Like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
I never understood that.
I thought it was exceptionally ridiculous how Rey is on the Millennium Falcon, and she's asking for the location of the what do they call it? The location of the new Rebel base.
Oh, Starkiller.
The Resistance. No, she's asking for where the Resistance
Yeah.
base is, and BB-8. She's like asking BB-8 technically, since Finn doesn't know.
Yeah.
She's asking BB-8 for the location of the base, and she just, boom,
Yeah.
BB-8 lets out 2 beeps and she knows the name of the system. It's like, come on.
And it's not just like Ray or anything, because Finn could understand BB-8 too, and he was like, "Go on, tell her to BB-8."
I mean,
and
I don't know if he could actually understand him, but they were having a sort of conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just seems a little bit ridiculous to me because
does.
I mean, even if she's a scavenger and she's been around droids her whole life, she's not going to be able to. I mean, it's not really a language. It's just how droids communicate.
And before we get any further with this, I just want to point out we're kind of just like nitpicking here because this movie was honestly, it was great.
Fantastic.
It was great. Like we're just trying to find things that were bad about this movie because there honestly isn't much that was. But
and I mean, we're analyzing it in a more critical way.
Yeah.
Because my first time watching the movie, I thought it was hard for me to get over the fact that, oh, I'm watching Star Wars again.
Mhm.
This is fantastic. The second time I watched it, I was able to pick out some stuff that I was like, oh, well, maybe that could have been a little bit different.
Sure.
But honestly, still really great movies. Don't get the feeling that we're hating on it for no reason.
And definitely, if you haven't seen it, first off, you shouldn't be listening to this. Second, go see it. Like now.
Right now.
Like go buy a ticket.
Turn off your phone.
Yeah, you can finish this
Right.
later.
Yeah.
Anyway, next character, Rey. What'd you think about her, especially as a main character?
The whole time I sort of got this feeling that Finn was going to be more of the lightsaber wielding guy. Somehow I just felt like he was going to be more of the main character. But and I wasn't so sure. I mean, I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but I wasn't so sure about it. Like a main girl Jedi.
Yeah,
like that's just something we really. I mean, we saw that with Ahsoka from the Clone Wars series.
Yeah,
but still, I mean, nothing that major.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't too sure about it, but I do like her character a lot. I think there are a couple of lines in the movie that were not too great for like her to say when. I don't know, but overall, I really liked her character.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got a connection with her that we never saw with any character in the prequels or any of that. So I really liked her. What did you think of her?
Oh, it's great character. Like I was with you
He
too.
just thinks she's hot.
Well, yeah, but still, okay, like, literally though. In the trailers before this, she looked like she was a good actor from the trailers. Actress, sorry. But I couldn't tell like everything, and I was a little unsure about like I'm not sexist or anything. I'm just saying we haven't seen a big female lead in the Star Wars series until this point, and I was skeptical about whether or not they were going to do it right, and they did, which was great. Sure. Honestly, so far my favorite main character in the Star Wars series. I can honestly say that.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting because even halfway through the movie, we still sort of get the feeling that, Finn's going to be more of a Jedi role than she is, even though it's kind of unlikely. He's a stormtrooper. He's been raised as a stormtrooper his whole life. He really has no connection to the Force besides the fact that it's all around him.
And they were heavily hinting that he was going to be a Jedi
for sure.
Like through the trailers and in the posters, like the individual posters. He was holding the lightsaber, so we're like, oh, obviously.
Yeah, and I think they wanted us to get that feel because even Rey turns down the lightsaber when Maz Kanata, I think that's her name, hands it to her. She turns it down, so we're like, oh, now Finn's gonna pick up this lightsaber. He's gonna be a hero. Yeah. Moving on to our next character, probably is Finn.
Finn's next one.
Finn.
Finn, I was very skeptical from the beginning whether or not he was going to do it for me because right off the bat I could tell he would be one of the more comic relief characters because he definitely is one of the more heavily jokers in the movie, and I didn't see that as a bad thing.
No,
some people I think might, but he didn't do it too much to where it got annoying. He was funny.
It was genuinely funny.
Yes, yeah. What do you think about the relationship they started to try to build between Rey and Finn?
I thought the relationship between Rey and Finn, they sort of gave us this I don't want to say lovey-dovey sort of companionship thing, but they gave us a friendship that you sort of feel could go that way, but you sort of know probably won't.
Uh,
But uh, I thought the relationship between Poe and Finn was pretty great too.
I I think it's funny that you say that because there is a lot of stuff on the internet right now about people wanting a thing between Poe and Finn.
Oh, that's not a thing at
I don't
all.
think that's going to happen, but you
If
know,
that happens, I'm sorry if I offend anyone. I would literally cry and I would just I
but
would burn all of my Star Wars stuff. and-
overall though, I think if they're going to do a relationship between Finn and anybody, it should be Rey and Finn because they do have chemistry, and I just feel like Poe and Finn would be better as like a friendship role.
Well, yeah.
Looking at it
that's-
from a movie perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I felt like they had a good like friendship bond from right
yeah,
when the minute where he says
It was-
FN, I'm gonna call you Finn. It was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a good friendship right here. This is like a Luke and Han sort of friendship. I feel,
it's a really good bromance kind of
bro,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
bro friendship.
yeah. Next character, Poe. Poe. What do you think about Poe?
Poe. I personally, I really liked Poe. I thought, we got with Luke, we got sort of the Jedi and the pilot together.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be too good to be true in this series because we had a stormtrooper and then a girl who is pretty much already a Jedi, in my opinion, who can fly pretty well. But Poe was like the expert pilot. But that's one thing he's really good at, and that sets him apart from. That makes him the man he is with the Resistance.
Yeah.
So I really liked that in him, and I thought he was sort of funny too in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of could have picked. He looks like somebody straight out of a Grease movie. I that's the only complaint I have about him. But honestly, I really liked his character. What did you think?
I thought he was great from the beginning. Like honestly, he's like one of the first characters we see in the movie.
Yeah.
And he starts off the movie great. Keeps it going for a while and transitions it over to BB-8, which transitions over to Rey pretty well. And I definitely wanted to see more of Poe.
Oh,
Dameron,
I wanted to see him
but
a lot more.
but do you think there will be a substantial amount of more Poe Dameron?
Of
Mo
Mo
Poe.
Poe. We
Yeah.
need to see Mo Poe.
Do you think there will be though?
Oh, I definitely think so. I can already see that Poe, Rey, and Finn will definitely be our Han, Leia, and Luke.
I think they will be the
That's
three
for-
main
That's
ones.
set.
Honestly, though, looking at it in my perspective, I feel like they're going to either keep it the same amount of screen time with Poe, or maybe even less. Because I feel like they, especially for the next movie, we're gonna get into predictions for the next movies later on. But I feel like for the next movie, they're gonna focus a lot more on Rey, especially.
Oh yeah.
And when you think about the tiers of like who's the main characters, it goes pretty much Rey, then Finn, then Poe, and then the rest of them.
Yeah.
So if they're focusing mostly on Rey, they're gonna focus mostly on Rey, and then they're gonna spend the rest of their time mostly probably focusing on Finn. They're going to spend a little time on Poe, I feel like, but it's different for Poe for some reason. I feel like because you see him doing a mission for the Resistance at the beginning of the movie, but like the only other time pretty much you see him is when he's in the X-Wing.
Yeah.
You know? And I think he'll be in scenes like that for like battles and stuff, but other than that,
Because
I don't know
that's
why.
the one thing he's known
Mhm.
for in the
Mhm.
Resistance is the piloting. We don't get the whole Luke, combo with him.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters, we hope to see more of. What did you think about Phasma's screen time?
Phasma? Oh, I don't even know. I feel like they're redoing the whole Boba Fett thing, because think about Boba Fett. Boba Fett is so overhyped.
He's not seen very many times in the movies. He has what, 5 lines, maybe
And
something like
what happens to him though? He gets hit by a blind guy with an oar into a sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
He's not that cool of a character, but everybody thinks he is. And in the expanded
Okay,
universe,
we're gonna rewrite that. Boba Fett is a cool character.
okay,
He's just not seen on screen. Honestly, is a really cool character.
okay, yeah, but the thing is, people automatically assume he's really cool just because he looks cool. He is an amazing character in the expanded universe. But the thing is, since Disney owns Lucasfilms now, the expanded universe isn't even canon anymore. The only thing that's canon is the movies, Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels. So, honestly, looking at the canon of what this story is right now, Boba Fett still isn't cool. And same with Captain Phasma, because everybody was like, "Oh, Captain Phasma, that chick looks awesome." And then you go into the movie, and it's just like, "Oh, she's kind of a boss.
She's
She's
maybe
like a
seen on
bossy
screen
person."
4 or 5 times, and
Yeah,
all she
and-
does is boss stormtroopers. My bad. Around.
Yeah, and then like there is one funny scene though with Han Solo asking if there's like a trash compactor. That was a pretty cool
That was
nod to
funny.
the
But
original series, but other
still,
than that, though,
nothing really all that cool
Yeah.
about Phasma. Maybe something I'd like to see a little bit more screen time on. I feel like
Maybe.
she was one of those characters that they were gonna add something cool in, and then they thought, oh, that's not really necessary to the storyline, so they probably put her in a deleted scene or something like that.
well, maybe we could have like a cool backstory type movie thing. Maybe.
That won't happen about Phasma
It-
with how much screen
It won't
time she saw in
happen,
this
but
movie.
it
would
maybe
be an
it'd
interesting
cool,
thing.
you know, because they are doing other movies besides the main series right now. They're
Yes.
coming out with Rebel One and some other ones.
I
I don't
believe
know
they're
if they've
doing a Han
announced them.
Solo backstory. I'm not
Are
sure.
they? That'd be cool. Because I want to know what happens between 6 and 7 for especially for Han. Because we know that he leaves Leia for a while for some reason.
Yes, that's definitely moving on to our next topic. What the heck happened between Han and Leia, and
Yeah.
how their son Ben, which is Kylo Ren,
Yeah, which will be our next character.
which is so easily seduced by the Force.
Mm-hmm. Like, okay, first off, I want to touch on the topic about when. Okay, so Leia and Han haven't seen each other for a couple of years now.
Oh, it's been more than a couple of years, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Han comes back. They see each other. They talk for a second. Then they hug. These two had so much chemistry in the original series, and
I don't even think we see them kiss in this movie.
we don't.
I mean,
All
I honestly don't really want to see
well,
that. I
yeah,
think it's
but
kinda
it was
gross,
expected.
but it
Like,
should be.
I
happening.
went in there thinking, okay, two old people are gonna kiss. I'm okay with it. Just get it
It's
over
Han and
with.
Leia.
But then it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
and that was shocking to me, and that kind of upset me. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like two people. They had so much chemistry in the original series, and then they
And
have
that was
a
one
kid.
of the best parts about their character
They have
was
a
their
kid.
chemistry. And now they have a kid, and they
Mhm.
barely talk to each other. Plus, I can barely hear Leia the whole movie. She's literally been smoking her whole life because
Mhm.
she talks like so hard to understand her
Yeah.
and hear her.
Carrie Fisher needs to get off the bond.
Well, all right. Well, she, yeah, I don't know. And I also
Yeah.
thought it was kind of ridiculous that they still view her as the resistance leader.
Yeah, and she doesn't really do.
She
much.
doesn't really do a whole lot. It's like, why are you taking orders from her? I would much rather take orders from Han Solo.
And like
maybe that's just me, but I don't.
and after, again, big spoiler, if you still haven't seen the movie, turn this off now. Like, seriously. But big spoiler, after Han dies, she doesn't seem all that sad. Rey comes back and they hug, but she's just like, oh, they're there. She's not even
She feels a disturbance in the Force when Han dies, and then she never says another thing about it. She gets a little disturbance. Also, another thing that got me is, okay, how long has Leia known Rey? Like, they've met maybe
Exactly,
once.
yeah.
And then Leia hugs Rey, but Chewie walks past her. It would have made so much more sense for Chewie to be hugging Leia.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're the one that had the strongest bond with Han.
Mm-hmm.
It was like...
True.
I don't know.
True.
That
But getting back onto the original topic of why we brought up Han and Leia, yeah, Kylo.
Yes.
How he was so easily seduced by the Force.
First
I don't
of all,
know.
Let's start talking about let's talk about his character a little bit first.
Okay.
What did you think of his character, Josh?
I know what you thought. Contrary to your opinion, I thought he was great. Honestly, I went in there thinking Kylo's. I think Kylo's gonna be cool, but Seth told me, maybe he's not gonna be all that great. But I loved him honestly as the bad guy. I feel like he was perfect. I don't know why. It was just like everything. Yes, he did get annoying at points, but that felt right because his role model is Darth Vader. Darth Vader is Anakin, and we
Skywalker.
know how
And
whiny
we know
Anakin
we.
was.
I
So-
don't like sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere, my lady. Like I understand that his role model is Anakin, but I did get the feel that he was just a whiny teenager at times with anger issues.
Yeah,
But I mean, I honestly just expected him to be a little bit more scary than he was in the movie because of how boss he appeared in the trailers. Like we thought,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
he's
this guy.
definitely a different character than I felt like he would be.
Oh, for sure.
But I think it's a good thing.
I think it's also a good thing because we got to see a really dark side of him
Mm-hmm.
when he kills Han.
Yep.
I mean, he says, I need your help.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this by myself. And then he literally just stabs his father.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad about that scene, and he said he didn't see it coming at all. He was like, "Oh, I thought Kylo was gonna turn good," and I'm like, "Dad, you really didn't see that coming?
Come
That was pretty obvious." But yeah,
I
I don't know.
he was definitely a different character than I made him out to be.
Well, and like,
And he always has perfect hair. His hair is pretty luscious, and that was kind of annoying.
well, like, but like for me, I don't know about you. I can't remember what your favorite one is, but my favorite Star Wars movie, and I know if anybody ever watches this, probably won't. I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but the third movie, like Episode 3, is my favorite because of the massive character development that they packed into it with Anakin. I actually felt for his character and all
Because
the
of that-
characters in the movie.
we
And
knew in the
how
first.
crazy and insane he becomes.
Oh, yeah.
And that reminds me so much, like Kylo reminds me so much of the third movie, and that's why I liked it.
And another thing about Anakin is that he was so easily seduced to the dark side, which is something I've always felt was kind of off about the prequels because of how easily he was put to the dark side.
Yeah.
I mean, one minute he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn you over, Chancellor. I'm gonna turn you into the Jedi Council," and the
Sure.
next minute he's calling him Master.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing I would really want to learn about Kylo is how did that happen? How did he turn to the dark side? We already know that he was Luke's apprentice.
And I'm pretty sure they'll explain it in the next
Oh,
movie.
for sure.
If not the next movie, then definitely the last one. They're going to go over it.
And also another thing about Kylo is in the next movie he should be a lot more powerful
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of this movie of number 7, Rey literally stands up to him and kicks his butt like it's nothing.
Well, and I think they're leading up to that though, because do you remember what Snoke says?
he
he's-
says it's time to complete his training.
Yeah, exactly. So he wasn't fully trained in the dark side yet.
And the thing is, Rey had never been trained in the dark
But
in
we
the light
know-
side.
But we know for a fact that she's super strong in the Force, though, because just think about that one scene where she pulls the Jedi mind trick on that stormtrooper. She doesn't even have to use hand movements. She's just like, "You're gonna release me" or whatever, and he does.
She has an extremely strong connection to the Force, which I haven't actually thought of this myself. It just occurred to me, which is either a good thing or a bad thing, because look at how strong of a connection Anakin had to the Force, and
That's
look
true.
at how it seems like the more powerful a Jedi is, the easier they are seduced to the dark side if they start going down the wrong path, even a
That's
little
true.
bit. And that's something we saw with Anakin, that his love for Padme led him down the wrong path, like it was nothing. So maybe if that love story thing with Finn and Rey started happening, that could be a bad thing too. But that's way, way out there. That's not even likely
I think
possible.
I think it will happen, honestly, with Rey and Finn. At least by the very end,
Something.
there's gonna be at least a hint to it. And if they don't, they're gonna pull a Legend of Korra. I feel like the end of Legend of Korra. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, if anybody gets that reference, you can talk about it in the comments. Anyway, um, so uh, next, what's the next on the list? So we talked about Kylo. What about Snoke? What'd you think about Snoke?
Snoke, like I told you before, I'm just happy. I'm actually pretty happy that he was a gigantic CGI character because if it had been the same actor as Gollum up there on screen, I would have just gotten way too much of the Gollum feel, and I probably couldn't have coped with that. But one thing I've thought about Snoke is that, at first you sort of think, oh, well, he's this gigantic, creepy dude just sitting in the middle of Starkiller Base, but he's really, a hologram.
Yeah, you figured that out close to the end.
I mean, yeah, and so we don't know how big this guy is, or really how powerful he is. He obviously knows about the dark side of the Force because he says it's time to complete Kylo Ren's training.
He seems very well trained in the Force, and he seems like an old guy, which leads me to believe that he has been in a part of the dark side for quite a substantial amount of time, which brings me to a popular theory right now that he's Darth Plagueis, which would be kind of cool. It's kind of unlikely.
Kind of cool, but kind of cliche.
Yeah,
it's very unlikely in my opinion.
But I would be happier with that than if they introduced a completely new character.
I guess, yeah.
Because they at least reference Darth Plagueis in the prequels,
which is something we never really got a whole backstory to.
Yeah.
But isn't it also said that Darth Plagueis dies?
He
was unable to save her, but he could. He was able to save her, but he couldn't save himself.
It's implied that Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis have a fight, and Sidious thinks he's dead. We don't know for sure though if he dies or not, and that's what the theory is based off of.
Yes.
And supposedly Plagueis has been in hiding this whole time. But like, if it's a new character, you can't just have a really old Sith-ish guy
come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
this is something we've never heard about before. So it almost leads me to wonder, if there's more people or something that are helping Snoke or something like that.
Because the thing is, they did this movie so great, but if they don't do the next ones just as good or better, it's everything's gonna be ruined.
Yes,
there's so much hanging in the balance.
There's so many questions that need to be answered in the next movie.
And I don't know if you touched on this, but you were kind of annoyed that 7 was a lot like Episode 4, A New Hope.
Yes.
And that's true, but I think I was okay with it because J.J. Abrams, I think, did this on purpose so he could like say, "Hey guys, we're not gonna ruin the series. We're gonna recognize the good parts of Star Wars.
We're gonna re-spark your interest with something new, but something old, so that we can tie it together."
Yep, and then we're gonna go with the new stuff and keep going like that. I think that's what he was implying. What? Okay. So yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do, and I think he was trying to go with that. And if the next movie is like the older movies, it's not gonna be good. I feel like.
Yeah.
If they make another Starkiller Base and then they explode it,
there cannot be another Death Star.
No.
Or another, because at the rate that they keep making these new super weapons, it's ridiculous. They should have been able to destroy the Resistance, no problem. But yet again, they fail. And if they make another Death Star or gigantic weapon, it's just going to be too cliche and repetitive for me. So I feel like the whole next movie is going to have to be something completely new.
Now, a couple minor things before the predictions. What did you think about the comedy? Overwhelming or good? Because some people think it was overwhelming. I don't think, though.
I feel like most of it was well put into the movie. Because Star Wars definitely needs to have a little bit of comedy that comes in other forms other than Jar Jar Binks, because, gosh, that was the most awful thing I've ever seen.
True.
But, yeah.
Plagueis is Jar Jar Binks. What about that?
Oh, please don't even go there.
I mean, not Plagueis, Snoke.
No, that's definitely not going to happen. if that happens. Again, burning all of my Star Wars stuff. Just gonna cry. But yes, I definitely thought the comedy in it was called for and really added to the movie in a way that helped us connect to the characters, but not over comedic.
Yeah. Okay, so predictions for the next movie. What do you think is going to happen? Because we see, I actually first I want to touch on Luke a bit. Okay, literally one of the only things that I actually cared about this movie doing right. Luke better have a beard, and he did, and it was awesome. What do you think is going to happen directly after this with Rey and Luke?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious Rey is going to be trained by Luke.
Yep.
But, it could go the completely opposite direction because Luke went into hiding after he tried to train Kylo.
That's true.
And that obviously really affected him because instead of just trying to beat Kylo down, which obviously couldn't be that hard for Luke, because look at how easily Rey did it. I mean, Luke has got to be somewhat more powerful than Rey.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's no point in training him.
You know what? I feel like that fight between Rey and Kylo, I think Kylo was dragging it out. I think he wasn't trying his hardest.
Well, I mean, he was also injured.
That's true.
He had the bullet wound. And going back to what I was saying, I think it could go the completely opposite way because Luke was scared of what happened to Kylo, and he might not want to train. He might not want to train Rey because of what happened to Kylo. And that would be a really interesting way to throw this series off. That would really throw this whole search for Luke Skywalker turning into, nothing. It would be nothing. And Luke would go back into hiding, and then Rey would be left to discover what's left of her powers on her own. And I don't know if that's what Star Wars fans want to see, but that's something that definitely could happen.
See, I feel like that's the way it's going to go. I feel like what's going to happen at first, at least, is Luke is going to deny training Rey for a while. She's going to go back and try to do it on her own for a while. It's not going to work out too well. Luke's going to come in, and then he's going to train her. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Speaking of Luke, when we saw Kylo strike down Finn, and the lightsaber goes flying into the snow.
Yeah.
And then we see the lightsaber start to twitch and something go, somebody's obviously using the force on it. I so wanted Luke to be there. I'm sorry. It was a far stretch, but it would have been really cool. Just putting that out there. Okay. So that's about Luke. So are we on to our predictions now?
Yeah, predictions for next movie. What do you think's going to happen?
Like I was saying, I think the thing with Luke could happen, where he goes in the completely opposite direction. He refuses to train Rey. Because really, we get no reaction out of Luke at the end of the movie.
True.
So, I really honestly think that Luke may turn down Rey.
Yeah.
And Rey is left to explore the galaxy with Chewie.
Yeah.
Because we see Chewie and Rey both get in the Millennium Falcon. And I mean, Han had been asking Rey to join the crew, and he even says, "Oh, I think Chewie likes you,"
Yeah.
And so I think that could happen, like Rey and Chewie and.
Well, because Chewie's with Rey when they go to the planet to see Luke. He just doesn't walk up the stairs with her.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Finn is gonna need some time to recover.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that. I don't know how long after number 7, number 8 is going to be.
Yeah.
But if it's close to the end of 7, then it would be interesting to see Finn still injured and not in the start of the movie.
I think it's going to go directly after 7. I feel like
I think it probably should, because that would make the most sense. Because if it doesn't come directly after 7, we're going to be left with a gap of time that we don't know what happened with Luke and Rey training.
True.
Because it's not like she's going to go anywhere after that she's already there with Luke. I mean, unless he turns her down. Because Chewie's already there with BB-8. So they could just leave Rey there. And come back and get her whenever she feels like she's trained enough or something like that. So unless Luke turns her down, I don't think anything's... Yeah, I don't know.
All right, anything else to add?
No. How about your predictions?
Pretty much the same. I feel like they're gonna. Uh, he's gonna deny her at first. She's gonna try and go alone for a little bit, and then Luke's gonna end up training her. Kylo is gonna be trained by Snoke.
Oh, for sure. We already
They're
know
gonna
that's
face off. I feel like at one point. In
I
the
want
next
I want to
movie.
see Luke battle Kylo.
Mhm.
I want to see that happen.
I want to see.
If that doesn't happen, I will be severely disappointed.
One thing I want about the next movie, there better be a sick fight between the Millennium Falcon and some other ship up in space. That'd be
Yes.
so cool.
Because I don't think we really saw the Millennium Falcon battle in space this time, did
Not
we?
in space,
We
but on the
saw
planet.
we saw a battle on Jakku, but not in
Yeah.
space. As to the end of number 8, I really have no idea what's gonna happen. That's so
Oh, I
up in
don't
the
know.
air right
Yeah.
now. It's hard to make predictions about the end of a movie that we haven't.
Yeah.
We have no idea what direction it's going in.
I have
But-
no idea where this series is even headed because obviously they have an ending planned out, but what is it?
And I kind of wonder how important Finn's gonna be anymore.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's obviously part of the Resistance now, but his main role in Star Wars 7 was to be a companion with Rey
Mm-hmm.
and to break Poe out of the Star Destroyer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Poe is injured and he might not even be in the Start of 7, it kind of makes me wonder how important he's going to be in number 8.
Yeah. I have no idea what Finn's role is going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else to add or?
I'm pretty bone dry on what else to add, but
All right.
it's been a pretty good talk here. It's
Yep.
We're at 36 minutes right now.
All right.
So yeah,
I'll-
that's what we've got to say on number 7 and all of the Star Wars stuff to go along with it.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have enjoyed.
I'd say that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you for watching,
Like, subscribe, favorite, all that good stuff.
and may the Force be with you.